Today's episode of the Get Your Comic On podcast may contain mild spoilers for the movies, shows, comic books, and games that we're discussing. And, if you're lucky, there might be some PG-13 language. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. Hey, super friends, it's Neil, and we are back with the second half of our wrap up of 2025. Michael and Aaron join me once again. We are now going to be talking about our favorite TV shows and movies of 2025. If you missed our episode on our favorite comic books, go back and check that out first, because there are some really cool recommendations in there for books that you could read over the holiday period while you've got a bit of downtime. Or if you're looking for a movie or a TV show, we are about to dive deep into both of those things. We're going to whip round our favorite TV shows first, and then we're going to talk about our favorite movies. And I'm excited to see if we're going to have any overlap, because if you did watch that comic book episode, you'll know there was not very much overlap between any of us, which was really, really interesting. I feel like this might be where we converge a little bit more. We started with Aaron on TV, on comic books. So Michael, I'm going to come to you first on TV. What is your number 5 TV show of 2025?
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so my number
Providing
5
the
TV
sound
show.
effects, because I'm not pressing the sound effects.
I'll provide my own. It's fine. So my number 5 choice TV show for this year is Big Boys. It is a British like sitcom, not sitcom. It's more like scripted comedy TV show. It's been going. This was its 3rd season and its final season. And it was I could not give it enough praise. It was so good. It's about a guy who goes to university, who is discovering his identity.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with grief after losing his dad and kind of discovering what his family dynamic looks like now. And it's just the sweetest thing. And it ends in a really dark but bittersweet way, which I won't spoil. But it's so
not
good.
watched it, but I did read. I saw a spoiler for the final episode, and it sounded really impactful.
Yeah, as the season kept going, it kind of was sowing the seeds of what was going to happen. And because it's TV, I was really hopeful that maybe it'd have a nice ending, or like that Hollywood, it's all glitz and everyone was fine in the end. And it really wasn't. It was quite dark and sad, but it had a really good message. And I think, it was just really good. And the comedy, and I'm making it sound really dark and depressing, which it kind of was a little bit, but
it was kind of a black comedy, wasn't it?
Yeah, the comedy is what really made it stand out to me. It's just, brilliant. Couldn't recommend it.
Really cool choice. I love that choice.
Thank you. My TV choices are really all over the place, so you're going to learn a lot about me in this episode.
Okay, so I'm going to do something similar, and I feel like this is one that people would go, what? Just because it doesn't fit with anything else that's going to be on my list, and probably fit all that much with what people know of me. But my number 5 pick is The Morning Show from Apple TV. There you go. Both of your faces just did it there.
Yeah. I would never have guessed that.
That's not sci-fi. What? So this is a really random one. I mean, obviously I'm of the generation that grew up watching Friends, so Jennifer Aniston, icon of 90s TV. But The Morning Show is just the most addictive show on Apple TV. It is a little bit soapy, but at the same time, I do feel like it's a little bit elevated at the same time. It has this really interesting backstory in that it was based on a book, but the book was more about sexual misconduct within the TV industry, specifically focused on a breakfast TV show. And when they were producing the first season, there was kind of a controversy about an American breakfast TV host that caused them to pivot a bit because they felt it was a bit too close to home. And what it has become is crazy. It's just this really, really big, sort of somewhat soapy character drama that's based within the TV industry. And this year we had a brand new season that's wrapped up just in the last few weeks. And there's so much going on. It's wild. There's like Russian espionage. There's AI stuff going on. There's environment stuff going on, because it always sets itself a year or so behind the present day, so that it can look at events that have happened and kind of use a little bit of now lens to reflect on how people dealt with situations at the time. So this year's season was set as the 2024 Olympics were about to happen. So it touches on things like the beginning of the re-election campaign for Trump. It touches a lot on AI. It's really interesting. But it's my number 5 pick because I'm really lucky because it's what a show that I get a screeners for. So where it's like unravels week to week for most people, I got to binge it, and it's a show that is absolutely bingeable. Like it is I can't watch one, I have to watch 4 kind of TV show. But I love it, and if people don't watch it, please do, because you will not regret it. It's so addictive. It's addictive, easy watching.
Would you believe I've never watched an episode, but I made a list of things that I kind of want to binge over the Christmas break, and that is the top show that I'm debating to binge.
So good. The escalation from season 1 to season, I think this was 4, is huge. It's wild. You will watch it and you'll go, how did I get from here to here to here to here? But it sort of escalates because things in the world have escalated. So COVID happened, and that became a plot point which they never would have ever envisaged, like having to deal with for an entire season. But they worked around it by working it into the story. And then, Trump happens and all these other things happen. So it's just it's a really interesting way of reflecting back the way things are happening in the world. And then Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, just like powerhouse actors.
Nice.
Love it.
Aaron, number 5. Yep. What can you pull out of the bag to shock us?
Well, similarly to Michael with his 5th pick for the comics, I've got a couple of picks for my 5th spot. I was debating doing Murderbot. I was debating doing Star Wars Visions Season 3.
Nice.
But I've ended up going for Doctor Who Season 2. I know that sounds like a really obvious pick because I'm the Doctor Who guy. So, yeah, anyone listening who knows me is like, oh, that's bloody obvious. But half the reason I picked it is because I do feel really bad for this season, because the only thing anyone's talking about is the finale. And there was an entire season of great episodes before that finale happened. Say what you will about the finale, but the episodes that came before that are arguably some of the best standalone stories we've had in the show for years, like Lux, The Well, Lucky Day, the Interstellar Song Contest, all brilliant episodes. And even ones that I thought were fine, like the Robot Invasion and The Story in the Engine, even though I think they're fine, I still respect the hell out of them for how ambitious they were from a story perspective. And because everyone is so worked up on that finale, I'm deliberately trying to put that aspect to one side and just view the series as is. Very easily could have gone with Murderbot. Very easily could have gone with Star Wars Visions, but I wanted to give Doctor Who its place because I feel like it's been wrongly judged because of that one element. And I'm like, no, there were like 3 or 4 brilliant episodes very early on, and you're kind of just pushing them to one side because of the finale. I think it's kind of unfair, and I wanted to give it its due place because like some of these episodes have instantly become like some of my all-time favorite. If I had done that list that I did for the website after this season, I definitely think The Well and Lux would have made that. Maybe even the Interstellar Song Contest would have been somewhere in that top 50.
Nice. Love that. That was one that nearly made my list. I've just decided I've got a sound effect lined up for if someone mentions like one that's on my list, or if we get a crossover, I'm gonna play a sound effect. Because it's my new favorite thing. But that's a really interesting one. I just watched the 3rd episode of War Between the Land and the Sea. I need to watch episode 4. I'm gonna be very sad having no Doctor Who between now and next Christmas, but looking forward to next Christmas nonetheless.
Yeah.
For a new episode. Nice. Michael, number 4.
I'll be surprised if either of you have got this on your list or have ever even seen it, because it doesn't feel something you'd watch. But my 4th choice is Amandaland. Have you seen it?
No, not watched it. It does look funny though from the trailers. I've seen it. It does look funny. This is BBC, right?
It is. So it is a spin-off series of the TV show Motherland, which is just a scripted
find that?
comedy.
Yeah.
And I'm a big British scripted comedy girl. I
I
think
can tell.
there's just something about it. It's very comforting, and yeah. And this is, I think, some of the best we've had in a long time. It's so unbelievably unhinged in the best way possible. You can go into this having not watched Motherland, but I think watching Motherland really informs this in a way. Because the character of Amanda is so ridiculous, and yeah, I quote this TV show all the time. Like when she goes to work, like her boring job, it's not a work, it's a collab. Love that. What a great. It's just little things and like little quips that she does is just so funny. Yeah.
This is the
Amanda
one
Land.
with the Christmas special that's got Joanna Lumley and Jennifer Saunders in it, right? To reunite Ab Fab.
Love
Yeah.
that.
So Joanna Lumley's she has a somewhat big part in the TV show, and then yeah, they announced that Jennifer Saunders is in the Christmas special, which is so cool. And I recently just went and took a picture outside of Adina Monsoon's house in London. So it's all coming back full circle.
Well, speaking of full circle, my next pick features Jennifer Saunders' husband. So I met her at the premiere of this next show on. She's on my list, and I feel like Aaron's nodding because he's like, "I know what."
No,
it
I'm
is."
just trying to make sense with all the circles. I'm like, who's your birthday?
So Jennifer Saunders is married to Ade Edmondson, and Ade
Yeah,
Edmondson
that's what I thought.
has a role in Alien Earth, which is my number 4 pick. He
way.
plays the kind of Alfred character to Boy, the head of the tech firm from Alien Earth. So I really didn't know where to put this because I loved this show, but I wasn't sure whether to give it a number 3 spot or the number 4 spot, or whether it was going to be like an honorable mention if we were going to have those. I really loved this show for various different reasons. I went to so much stuff to do with this show, but I've always been a fan of Alien. I've loved Alien since I was a kid. Terrified by Alien, terrified at the idea of them turning Alien into a TV show because they didn't know whether it would work or not. But it's Noah Hawley, and when Noah Hawley hits, Noah Hawley slaps.
Yep.
But when Noah Hawley doesn't hit, it doesn't really work as well. But was really happy to find that this did work, and it is a very interesting expansion to the Alien universe that takes it beyond horror and takes it to a slightly more interesting socio-political kind of conversational story about what it means to be human, what it means to be not human. Is that a thing? Is there anybody that knows what it's like to be not human that can verbalize? It's a very interesting story. Oh God, I'm lost. And I'm really glad that it's got a second season because it ends on a really interesting cliffhanger that could, touch wood, be a really interesting second season story. I will not spoil anything, but the main character poses some really interesting questions again about humanity and about AI and about the direction that society is going in and what that could mean for the future. And that's beautifully wrapped up in the horror of Alien at the same time. So thankfully it ended up being something which was a really exciting watch. Could be a really great binge, but likewise you can actually watch it weekly and there are some great breaks in it. It's not one that you have to binge per se. And it does do the horror well and it does the gore well when it wants to do them. It leans into it at specific points to be able to say to you, you think that we can't do this, but we actually can. Here's what happens when we go full Alien. But at the same time, we can also do these other cool things and show you what this franchise is capable of. So I think it's a really fun watch. And I think a few people slept on it, but thankfully not so many that it didn't get a second season. So I'm excited to see more from it. But it is a very worthy addition to my list. Number 4.
Am I right in thinking this is the TV show with the eye? I don't want to spoil it, but yes,
The sheep.
something to do with that. Yeah.
The sheep and the eye. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen many a clip of this on the internet and it looks it looks crazy. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Yeah. There are lots of different designs for aliens because there are lots of different alien creatures in it other than just the xenomorph, and they are very, very, very different to the xenomorph itself. They definitely went with things from different planets don't necessarily have to have a similar design language, which I think some people struggled with, but I think make sense, because why would everything have similarities
Yeah. Makes
in the
sense.
universe? Yeah. Aaron.
My number 4, taking it back to Apple TV, is I think one of the most like talked about TV shows of the year, and I only recently just finished it because I wanted to watch it in the first place, but also I needed something new in my list,
I think
and
it's
that
the only
is
one I've never watched.
The Studio.
Yeah, not watched it yet.
Yeah, it
Nice.
is. The Studio is a weird one because like it on paper should work, and for the most part it does, but it dabbles in a type of comedy that usually is not my favorite, and that's cringe comedy.
Yeah.
It does do like actual like really well written comedy as well, but like a lot of the episodes are shot with very long handheld camera long takes, which therefore amps up the stress and the tension of the episodes. And the entire thing, this is one of the funniest but most stressful shows I've ever seen. Because it's shot in a variety of one takes, it just adds, because the whole premise is that Matt Remick, played by Seth Rogen, becomes the head of this film studio called Continental Studios, and it's his job to kind of, unfortunately, he's an avid film fan, but unfortunately, the higher up wants him to make stuff like Kool-Aid, the movie, and really dumb stuff like that. So that's the main struggle of the show, but it's also just seeing how bad these things can possibly get and how chaotic it can be. And also the cameos in it are absolutely nuts. Like in the very first episode, Martin Scorsese plays himself, and then they tell him to his face that they're not going ahead with his film idea, which makes him burst into tears. And I think in the third or fourth episode, Ron Howard plays himself. Zoe Kravitz plays herself at one point. Dave Franco plays a very drugged up version of himself. It is quite unhinged at points, but I kind of love it. The cringe comedy is very hit and miss. There are some points where it is going so far in that direction where I actually kind of had to look away, but it is really good. You can tell this is a show made by film fans for film fans, because just as much it is taking the piss out of the studio system, it is also trying to pay homage and be respectful to as many types of cinema as it can be. There is also a brilliant episode where they're trying to cast the Kool-Aid film, and then realize they might have done something a bit racist with their casting, therefore trying to fix the problem and then make the situation worse by casting the worst possible people in it, and then it just becomes this whole thing that balloons where they're trying to rectify their own casting choices. It's so stupid because they're just making the situation worse for themselves.
Nice.
But it is really well done.
I nearly got screeners for it, but ended up I was really busy with something else. I decided not to go with it, and I just haven't gotten around to watching it. But it's one I really want to watch. It's high on my list.
It is very, very good. Like, do be prepared for how stressful and cringy it will be, because I was not expecting that. I was just expecting like a comedy drama hybrid. And then by the end of the second episode, I had like my fist in my hand because of how stressful this certain episode was being, and I'm like, I don't know if I can actually carry on with this, but I persisted, and I'm glad for it.
Nice.
Okay,
Michael, back to you. Number 3.
So my third choice of my list is Marvel Zombies.
Oh, I was so close to putting that on mine as well.
Yeah, it nearly made my list too.
I was staring at my list. I had a really big list of maybe like 10 TV shows, and like I think 8 of them was animation. So I need to spice this up a bit. And
nice.
I couldn't get rid of Marvel Zombies because it just, I'm a big fan of What If. I really like those like singular, like, you know, strange stories that they've been doing, especially like I feel the animations. What I like about the animation for Marvel is they take risks that the live action stuff doesn't do. I guess because animation they can do what they want with. But yeah, I liked it because it was very high stakes. Like characters got killed off that you wouldn't expect to get killed off. There was a lot of blood and guts, and it was very unhinged and very good. And I think the voice cast, I love it when the people that play the characters in live action come
Yeah.
back and play. And Aman Vellani playing Miss
Yeah.
Marvel was a true standout for me this season. I thought she did a really good job. And Yelena, Florence Pugh, also did really. Yeah, Marvel Zombies. I thought it was great.
We still don't know for sure whether we're getting a second season, do we?
I don't think it's been confirmed, but I'd be surprised if we
I
didn't.
need to know. I need to know what that ending means.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to Elizabeth Olsen talk about this TV show, and
Yeah.
she said that they filmed the voice stuff for this, I think like 3-4 years ago, like a
Yeah.
long time ago. And she
Yeah.
said there was filming for quite a while, and she's not in it that much. So that to me implies there's more
They
to
may have already
come,
done it.
or they cut her out. But I find it hard for them. I can't imagine a world where they're going to cut out the Scarlet Witch because she is,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Because I think they showed the first footage from it at San Diego Comic-Con in like 2019 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's been in the making for a really long time. So,
Yeah.
because I believe it was supposed to be a movie, if I remember correctly. It was supposed to be a film, and then I think they changed it midway,
Oh, interesting.
or at some point in the process. I read, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's true. So,
Yeah.
but I read online that apparently it was supposed to be a film at some point, and then they shifted gears into a TV show. And yeah, I think it's a really solid Marvel project, and I think from start to finish, it has like a really clear point of view, and it has a mission, which some MCU projects haven't had in a little while. So
No, that's very true.
yeah,
It's very, very true.
so yeah, it was really refreshing. I loved it a lot.
My third choice is also in the superhero genre. And so my number 3 show of the year is Peacemaker Season 2. What I loved about this was not the finale, which I didn't hate, but I do think is not the best episode of the season. What I really liked was how when you go back and you watch season 1, it was about this group of people coming together to save the world from the butterflies, and they had this mission, and that was resolved at the end of the finale for season 1. And then you come back into season 2, and it's much more a story about who they are and who they are to each other and how they see themselves. And it ended up being this really cool character portrait for each of them, which is what I think got a little bit lost in the finale. But I understand that the finale is also setting up stuff for Man of Tomorrow and other future DCU projects. But it was really cool to see tonally that James Gunn was going to do something different, even though it was within the DCU, because I think a lot of people felt like it was going to feel the same as Superman and that it was going to all be like the same and very boring. And it really wasn't that. It was fun to see these characters who'd been so bombastic and so in your face suddenly be so broken and so beaten down and so in need of each other and in need of connection that they all do these desperate things to try and find that. And it's quite sad and it's quite depressing in a way, but it was really well written. It was just a really great season. But I also really appreciated just how much it also showed that James Gunn is going to pick the best elements of DC to keep and what to get rid of. And so much hype was made around how on earth were they going to make this season be within the DCU when the first season was in the DCEU. And they're all hyping up it's going to be a multiverse project and he's going to go through that quantum unfolding pocket dimension and end up in the DCU, and everyone's going to be different versions of themselves. And in actual fact, all it was in the end was just a different shot in the catch up from season 1 at the beginning, and it was totally just a matter of fact thing that happened. So yeah, Peacemaker season 2, I think just a wonderful season of TV, if a little bit caught up at the end with setting up some future storylines for other projects, albeit that actually it puts some characters in some really exciting places and introduces some cool elements from the comics. So, as while it doesn't quite fit with the rest of the season, it does some really exciting stuff at the same time. So that had to be on my list, but it wasn't quite a number 1, but it sits pretty at number 3 on my list.
Nice.
What I liked, I've not seen the show yet.
Yep.
Still, sorry.
Me neither.
Don't have to apologize. It's fine.
But what I liked about it is, I think in today's culture, we get really hung up on like recasting or like, what we're going to do. And back in the day, like if you think of like Harry Potter and stuff, like Dumbledore, like they just carried on and kept moving. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
a big deal.
Mm.
Like we just, the audience knows what's going on, and I liked that it kind of just did that. It was like, yeah, this is where we are now. Like keep
Yeah.
up.
Sometimes
was
these
like-
things happen.
Yeah, it doesn't need this all singing, all dancing
Yeah.
fix. So
Yeah.
I liked that about it. It was quite cool.
Yeah, definitely. Similar to why The Witcher felt that it needed to actually acknowledge the fact that it changed from Cavill to Hemsworth. I'm surprised they didn't just ignore it and it
Mm.
just was a different actor. The fact that they had to actually acknowledge it in the story was a bit random.
Yeah, I honestly think sometimes acknowledging it makes it worse.
Worse.
Like when you're watching
Yeah.
it, like you just keep going, like it's fine.
If you want continuity, just don't
Yeah.
acknowledge it. Just let it happen. Sort
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
situation.
The more you address it, the more it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah, I liked that about it. Again, I've not seen it, but I've seen
Yeah.
the scene that you're referencing, and I thought it was quite a cool way of doing it.
Definitely. Definitely
Cool.
was. Aaron, what's your number 3?
My number 3, the 3 that I'm going to mention from now on are ones that we did mention earlier in the year. So I can be very brief on them. The third pick for me is Light and Magic, which is the documentary
Oh,
series,
nice.
season 2.
Yeah.
This is the documentary series on Disney Plus about the history of Industrial Light and Magic as a company, but also like some of the key projects they've worked on throughout the years, and just some insights about why the stuff that they did was quite groundbreaking. Absolutely. I came into this very late. I only watched season 1 to then watch season 2 straight after. And it is so fascinating. Like when I was a kid, one of the things I used to do a lot is watch like the behind the scenes of just how they made films and all that sort of stuff.
Same.
I think the one I rewatched the most was the melting face from Indiana Jones, and just because I was enamored, and like, how the hell did
Love
they
it.
do that? And they even do touch on that in end of season 1, I think.
Yeah.
Season 1 was quite a nice package in terms of how it ended. It was very much a case of like the inception of the company and why they created it for Star Wars, and then it ended with them about to go into creating the prequels.
Yeah.
And then I think it ended on that note. And then season 2 picks up the baton, very much spends an episode or 2 focusing on the prequels, and then goes further into the stuff that the big projects of like the 2000s, like with the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I've watched season 2.
Yeah, and other bits like that. There is also a really weird bit of coincidence, and Neil, you know where I'm coming from with this, considering how much of a Heroes fan I am, is that the guy who played Hiro Nakamura worked on the water physics for The Perfect Storm. And I'm like, so he worked at ILM before ever being an actor.
Did not know
And
that.
because it just baffled me when he suddenly popped up. I'm like, wait, what are you doing here? What are you doing here in this ILM documentary? But there's a fascinating little tidbit is that he worked for ILM doing water physics for that film, and then did Heroes, and then obviously skyrocketed into fame because of Heroes.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get him back for certain projects because of how popular Heroes got. But yeah, weird little coincidence, that one. And unfortunately, it quite sadly finishes on the fact that the original ILM offices closed. So I don't think there will be a third season unless they talk about like current projects. But it nicely wraps it in a bow as like a nice tribute to the company.
Nice. I need to watch season 2. I really enjoyed season 1. It was a great documentary.
Cannot recommend it enough.
Michael, number 2.
So my second TV show, again, I don't know if you'll have seen it, and it's similar to
Maybe we're going to have no overlap on TV as well.
Not yet. Well, we've still got a few more to go, so who knows? But my second one is the TV show Adults. Have you seen it?
No.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
So again, similar vein, scripted comedy.
Yeah.
But not in the UK this time, we're in the US. And it's very reminiscent of Friends to me. It follows the dynamic of I think it's like a group of 5 or 6 friends in New York just trying to like figure their shit out. And they're all sharing like a house together, they're all really poor. and it's just really daft and really lighthearted and fun. And it's one of them TV shows where you can pop it on, and it's just very comforting. Like I can't explain it. It's just other than like you get really engrossed, and yeah, it's just really sweet. And all of the characters that are in it are really well thought out. No one gets shortchanged, which you do get in these
Right.
kind of TV shows.
Yeah.
There's always like the odd character where like I don't know, they kind of fade in the background, but all of them get the chance to shine. So it's really good. So yeah, adults.
They look like a really fun cast. I'm just Googling images. And
Yeah.
yes,
Paul
I see
Baker.
renewed for season 2. Renewed for season 2.
Yeah. The internet, and myself included, was obsessed with Paul Baker, which is one of the hot men from the TV show, obviously.
Is that the
So
one with the
yeah,
mustache, by any chance?
yeah. But no, it was really good. It's one of them TV shows where, again, a group of friends dynamic, and it's all about like identity
Yeah.
and just figuring your shit out in your 20s. So it's really relatable, and yeah, it's genuinely a really good TV show.
It does appear to smolder in absolutely every single photo.
He does do that. He does a very good job. And what's funny about it is the TV show is really self-aware of it, and they take the piss out of the character consistently, and it's really good.
I mean, it looks funny just from the images that I'm seeing, so I'm going to have to check this out.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't recommend it enough. It's so good, and the dynamics and the things that they get themselves into as a group is just so ridiculous. But like, it is kind of true. Like, I know with my friends, like when I look back at like being at uni,
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, we did get into some really weird like situations where it's like, why did we go to that place, or why did we, you know? And it yeah, it's very true to life in that
you
way.
don't have to confess anything. Say no more.
The benefit of the tip. I'm kidding. But yeah, it's just one of them TV shows that stuck with me throughout the year. I think it came out like January. Like it was really early in
nice.
the year. So the fact that I remembered it is quite impressive.
Right. So my next pick is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, for which we had season 3 this year. Finally, so the season 2 finale was August 2023, and we had no new episodes until July 2025. So we had a long wait for the second part of a 2-part story called Hegemony. We waited a long time, but it was just so good to have Strange New Worlds back. This series is probably the rockiest of the 3 seasons so far, because this was the one that was written during the last lot of strikes in Hollywood. So there are. It's not. They didn't quite have the lead time that they normally have to produce a season. Lots of, we're writing and we're shut down. We're going to start shooting, but then we've run out of scripts. Then the actors are on strike. So it was a little bit hit in terms of how it was put together, but it's still a wonderful 10-episode run of TV. We get holodeck stuff this season, which is a really surprising one, because most people don't think of the holodeck as being in Star Trek until Star Trek The Next Generation rather than the original series. So that leads you to a murder mystery. We had some really random stuff that happened this season. No musicals, quite like the previous season. But they do like to do some weird and wonderful stuff, and it's just really cool to have episodic Star Trek that focuses on different characters in different episodes and goes off and does like a comedy, then it'll do a horror, then it'll do something really serious, and it's really wonderful and heartwarming to have. And it was great to have another 10 episodes. Sadly, we found out this year that it's ending, but it's not ending until season 5, so we have season 4 to come first. So there's still 16 more episodes till we get to the end. Slightly controversial finale this season, which may be down to some of those issues around how they produced the season altogether, but still a fun one nonetheless. And everyone knows that I love my Star Trek, so there had to be a season in there, and that was the only season we got this year, because Starfleet Academy doesn't start until January. Maybe that will make the list next year. We will have to watch and wait and see. But that is my number 2. What is your number 2, Aaron?
Well, I think it's a nice segue to go from Star Trek to Star Wars. Andor season 2. It's my top 2 are kind of predictable picks, because they are like 2 of the best, what most people are deeming as like 2 of the best shows of the year. But there is a reason they're at the top of mind, because Andor season 2 is bloody good TV. It is really, really good. I know some people who tried to get into season 1 of Andor and said it was quite slow going.
Yeah.
And the one thing I said to them about season 1, and the same thing applies to season 2, is that you have to give it a couple of episodes, because that slow pace is intentional to build up the tension that will just drag on throughout the series. Season 1 did it really well, where it felt like each couple of episodes was like a mini self-contained story that built to a larger thing. Season 2 has done that quite literally by splitting it by 3 episodes. Is a self-contained thing that is building up, and they all got released, I think, 3 episodes at a time. And
Yeah, chapters, didn't they?
yeah, when I heard that they were doing that, I wasn't sure whether it would work. But knowing how season 1 played out, and then seeing it unfold in season 2, I'm so glad that they did it, because these mini self-contained stories were just really good on their own, but also building up to the whole that you get to at the end just feels more fulfilling. And the middle 3, I know that everyone's probably going to talk about like how good these episodes are, but the middle 3 episodes of season 2, especially 8 and 9, are some of the best episodes of TV I've seen of anything, full stop.
Wow,
Like, I know that's a high bar, but like,
and this is
way,
this is number 2 in the list.
yeah, honestly, there is just the payoff around those 2 episodes, and then you have 3 more after those that just kind of help nicely wrap it in a bow to then lead into Rogue One, which I did watch Rogue One as soon as I finished season 2,
Nice.
and the transition from one to the other is flawless. And if you haven't for some reason watched Andor yet, I do recommend watching season 1 straight into season 2 and then straight into the film, because that is the best way to do it, and that is one really nice, technically 3-season arc if you count Rogue One as a show but not film. But yeah, that's how it kind of plays out. It is fantastic. I cannot fault it at all. It is brilliant.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't seen season 2. I will get around to it at some point.
It's so good. I won't say anymore, but it's so good. Everyone's kind of raved about it for the whole year, but it is worth it.
Okay, and that leads us to our number 1 picks. Michael, your number 1 show of 2025, please. What is it?
So we are hopping over to Netflix for Devil May Cry.
Oh,
okay.
Did you see it? The important question is, have you seen it?
I've seen some of it. I've not seen all of it.
Okay, so
I've not watched any of it.
I've not played the game. I'm familiar with the game, and I went into this completely blind, just as like I know of it, and I have no real stakes in the game, if you will. And it made such an impression on me. It was one of them TV shows that just, I felt like a fangirl on the internet. Every time someone wanted a recommendation, I was like, The Devil May Cry, The Devil May Cry. Like, honest, I just could not stop talking about it. It became my personality for a good 3 weeks. And season 2, I believe, is right around the corner. We're due it any minute.
Yeah, they just announced it at the Game Awards. Yes, I can't remember what the date was, but they've announced the date.
I will be Googling that in a minute. But yeah, so Devil May Cry, it was just so good. It reminded me of Deadpool tonally, that tongue-in-cheek kind of fourth wall breaking. And obviously, because it's animation, the action is just like next level. Like, some of the stuff they can get away with is just insane. And it was just one of them TV shows that kept going, and it just, it was brilliant, and I couldn't recommend it enough.
And might I add, an absolutely banging soundtrack.
That too. The music is what made it, to be fair. I remember, again, part of the reason I jumped into it as a TV show is I saw the internet kind of, as it came out, being like, this TV show is really good, the music's amazing. And I was like, oh, whatever. And then I saw someone post the soundtrack on Twitter, and I was like, I will go back and redact my statement, and I'm going to watch you immediately, because that sounds sick. And yeah, it just blew me away.
Yeah, so it was they had Evanescence perform at the Game Awards, performing Afterlife from it's like episode 6 or something
Yeah.
that it was in, and then after they performed, the host of the Game Awards was like, "In season 2 coming, I want to say May, maybe it was March. I think it was a month beginning with them, but they definitely confirmed when it was coming. But that song is
Lovely.
just oh
I love that.
nice.
Yeah.
That's a really really cool pick, especially following all of that like British comedy.
Mm.
Yeah, we've had British comedy, Marvel zombies,
Yeah,
American
American
comedy,
comedy. Boom.
animation.
Yeah,
Got it there. Nice.
Yeah.
Love
brilliant.
that. Okay. So my number one is a very recent one. In fact, it hasn't even finished. But based on the first 4 episodes, my number one show of the year is going to Strange Things. I'm going there. It
Fair
may
enough.
not be like I could like I might eat my words and it could be a Game of Thrones style like turd
Yeah,
of a
you
finale.
might eat your words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep making the joke. I'm like, if I hear a bell ring at any point and someone decides to burn everything down, then that's going to be the end of it. But based on those first 4 episodes and the trailer that we just got today, as we're recording this for part 2, oh my god, it looks so good, and it's been such a good season so far. I feel like we're heading in a really exciting direction.
Mm.
Those 4 episodes just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like I got to see the first one at the cinema at the premiere, and I was like, this, like the scale of this looks incredible just from the stuff that you see in the Upside Down in that first episode. But I would kill to have seen episode 4 in the cinema because the big fight in episode 4 just insane. And for the iconic moment that is the nose blood wipe of Will as he just, ascended to the next level at the end of episode 4. And I'm laughing because Michael and I have talked about this a little bit.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Just such a brilliant season. And I sincerely hope that the Boxing Day for us, Christmas Day if you're in America episodes, and the New Year's Day, or if you're in America, New Year's Eve episode finale is going to be enough to stick it. I really hope it does, because it could be one of the greatest final seasons I think we've seen in a very long time if they can stick the landing.
Me too. I agree. I wish I could have seen Holly Wheeler go against that Demogorgon on the big screen. I think I would have been pulled out of the cinema on like a stretcher because it would have been next level.
That's literally because I thought the episode was going to run about another 10-15 minutes longer. So like I probably told you, didn't I? We thought because it started so late, we thought we were going to have to leave and miss the end. But it was like, we're going to watch as much as we can and then we'll leave. And I looked at my watch and I was like, now is the time we have to leave if we're going to get the last train home. And it was just as the Demogorgon came into her room and I was like, I'm going to have to walk out and not know how this ends. And it cut to black and it was the end credits. And I was like, oh,
thank God.
What? What? But can you imagine seeing Karen and her wine bottle at the cinema? That would have been incredible if I got to see episode 2. I mean, like all 4 of those episodes could have been shown at the cinema. Like I would literally go to the cinema once a week, dropping them weekly on the big screen.
That whole like Holly, Karen, Demogorgon, like under the bath, like all of it would have been. I literally was on the edge of my sofa, like, and I'm not exaggerating. I was literally audibly going, "Oh my God!" like screaming out loud, like me. I was just like on the edge of my
And I realize we're saying a lot, and Aaron has only seen season 1 because this has become a running joke in our friend
group. It's fine.
Catch up, you've got time.
We've established that this is going to be the show that Aaron doesn't watch until either he's on his deathbed or he never watches because everyone is talking about it.
I said this to Neil about a week or so ago, whereby like there are some shows when they're out are so hyped up by everyone that initial thing of wanting to watch it kind of diminishes. Like it was me with Game of Thrones when that was about. Everyone talking about it, where I'm like, I kind of don't want to watch it now because you're talking about it too much. And I'm kind of starting to get it with Stranger Things. As much as I love season 1, I'm like, I'm going to wait till it's died down a bit and then maybe go into it.
Yeah.
That's my
see how it ends and what the reaction is to gauge whether or not you want to.
That's
see how people feel once it's over. But what is your number 1 then?
My number 1, I've just realised we've all gone for a Netflix show as our number 1. Adolescence.
I still haven't watched it.
Because similarly...
Don't worry.
because similarly with Michael's thing with British comedies, I'm a sucker for like a really high quality British drama, and
Mm.
this is the pinnacle of that. The camera work is exquisite. The performances from everyone is incredible. It's one of in a similar sense, no, in a different sense to the studio where that was just so cringe inducing. It's just like you want to look away. There are some moments in this show that are really hard to watch
Yeah, I bet.
because of the emotional journey you're being pulled through with this family. Yeah, I mean, I was a massive fan of Philip Barantini's one take film Boiling Point, which also had Stephen Graham in it. And I was interested to see how Adolescence would play out, considering it's 4 one take episodes, and
Yeah.
there are no hidden cuts. They're all done in one take, and if they screwed up, they went right back to the start again. And the fact that each one is about an hour, I think one goes just over an hour as well. It's almost like you're watching televised theatre a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is why it goes one up over Andor, is because like I cannot fault Adolescence in any way. It is written superbly. The performances are phenomenal. It's quite it choked me up on a few places because it is just hard to watch, but also just I think the performances really do bring it out of each of them, each of the people in it. And yeah, it's I cannot fault it at all. I know everyone's saying like it is the best show of the year, and it is one of those rare examples where like, yeah, I kind of have to agree because it is just that well made.
Nice. Interesting that we all ended up with a Netflix at number 1.
Yeah, I only realized that before I said it, and I'm like, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah. But no
So it's
overlap.
interesting.
Yeah,
I
no overlap.
I've avoided Adolescence for the same reason with you with Stranger Things. It got so hyped. I was like, I'm gonna wait and revisit this when the hype died off. Because yeah, so it's interesting.
I will admit, even though it is a hard watch in terms of its content, it's easy to watch because it is just 4 hour-long episodes, and you can get it done in like 1 or 2 settings. Like it is very easy to just get the whole thing done quite easily.
Nice.
Okay, that wraps up TV.
Mm-hmm.
On to movies for the year. I'll start on this one. And this is where I'm going to be like, oh God, I can't remember who was in anything or who directed anything or who wrote anything. So I just went with what my current ranking is on Letterboxd. Because I do the same thing every year. I make a new ranking that is for that particular year. And currently sitting at number 5 for me is Companion, written and directed by Drew Hancock, starring Sophie Thatcher, absolute knockout from Yellow Jackets, and Jack Quaid, who doesn't love Jack Quaid, and also Lucas Gage and Harvey Gullin. Rupert Friend also in this film. Brilliant Warner Brothers release. A weekend getaway with friends at a remote cabin turns into chaos after it's revealed that one of the guests is not what they seem. I do think the trailers went a little bit too far in spoiling some of it. So if you'd seen all of the trailers before going in, you might have been a little bit spoiled. If you hadn't, then there were some big twists. Kind of feels like an elongated Black Mirror episode. It's got a very Black Mirror kind of style to it. It's just such a cool cast. It's such a cool premise. It just goes to some unexpected places. There are still some twists in there, even if you have seen the trailers. It subverts a lot of expectation. I just love both the leads as well. Like Sophie Thatcher is incredible in Yellow Jackets, so it's really cool to see her leading a film. She deserves like the biggest career possible, and I just love Jack Quaid because Jack Quaid's just amazing. And I don't care. He's definitely not a nepo baby. He has more than earned his place in Hollywood at this point. And again, cool to see him. You know, we saw him in Novocaine as well this year. We've seen him really kind of break out and do some big things. And this was just a really cool, fun, horror-ish, sci-fi-ish type movie. So that is my number 5. What order am I going to go in? Where am I going? Michael, what's your number 5?
Okay, so I've literally just swapped 2 of my films around while we were filming this of my list. I looked over and I was like, I don't like where that film's sitting. So
I'm looking for overlap. Where is the overlap going to happen?
There might be some, yeah.
there's definitely going to be one. I can tell you for now. Like, there is one film on this list that maybe two actually. I'm going to put my money on those two films that I think at least one of you will have. Anyway, my fifth best film of the year is Mickey 17.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Is in my top 10, yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching it and I was really impressed with just everything about it. I really liked Robert Pattinson's performance. I thought he did a really good job juggling the two different roles. And I thought like the story itself was quite interesting and what the film tries to tackle and does tackle. And it just does a really good job. And it was one of them films where the more I sat with it and thought about it afterwards, I was like, yeah, that film slapped. I enjoyed that a lot. And I'd forgot it was a this year movie when I was looking at my list. I thought it was a last year film, but yeah, it really popped for me.
That is the only press screening I've done this year.
Yeah.
Is it?
Was Mickey 17.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah.
It definitely feels like a lot of people slept on it and it ended up under the radar. I hope it comes back on a lot of people's lists like this at the end of the year to remind people that A, it came out this year, and B, if you did not see it, it's worth watching. Because I really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it just was a really solid film. And again, when I was looking at my list, I was like, yeah, that film did slap and everyone did kind of sleep on it. And I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it made it switch to number 5.
Nice. Aaron.
I do feel really bad because like Mickey 17 was really high up when I watched it, but then so many good things have come out, it's just been pushed into the 20s, and I'm like, that's so annoying. Right, my number 5 was very close to being Roofman. Because
nice, excited to see that.
But my number 5, and this is where the overlap's going to start, hopefully, fingers crossed, is Thunderbolts. No,
not on my list.
Fair enough. I look like an idiot.
it was my number 6. It got knocked out by a film that's later on the list, which I will reveal later.
I thought it was going to be in yours. I was ready to press my sound effect there. I thought there was going to be. Yeah. So, it was high in mine. It was in my top 5, but it's been knocked out.
So I want to say this like just as a bit of a preface as well. Like
this Thunderbolt love.
Yeah. Technically, on my Letterboxd list, this is actually number 6. But I think I said this before we started recording. I've had to boot out a film called Tuna, which I saw as the surprise film at London Film Festival. Absolutely adored it, but it doesn't have a US or UK release date yet. It's only done the festival circuit, and I thought, to be fair, I'll keep it for like just UK releases only. So Tuna's been booted out, and Thunderbolts has shifted into the 5th spot. And it, similar to what you were saying about Marvel Zombies, with like the sometimes Marvel projects can feel a bit, disorganized. Hand movements and all that. Thunderbolts felt like it was
such a good film.
I don't know how to word it. It just felt like it was focused and it had something it was trying to tell from the start. And I don't think we've really had that properly and well thought out since maybe Guardians Volume 3. Like an actual vision behind the camera. There's a through point, there's a theme, and it just feels well thought out in every sense. I just loved it. I loved where it took the story. I loved how dark it was willing to go. And I just thought the ensemble worked. I mean, I don't really have much else to say that hasn't already been said. I had a blast with this one.
I think that's another one that's been slept on a little bit because as much as it was a success for them, people have talked about it in a well, it wasn't as successful as it should have been. It's like, well, don't sleep on it then. It's on Disney Plus. Go and watch it. Go buy it. Go check it out because they're a great bunch of characters.
Yeah, they work. It's weird because like in their own context and like the films that they originally come from, I'm like, I don't know if they'd work together. And then actually seeing it play out in the film, I'm like, that was better than I thought. Fair enough. Fair play.
Yeah, I think maybe what hurt the film, maybe looking at it in hindsight, Obviously, it's kind of Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad to a
Yeah.
degree.
Yeah.
And I think the marketing around it, like, it was all pitted against each other. And that aspect of the film was really, really cool. And I think if they'd have drawn that out a little bit more, I think it would have been, I think people would have maybe responded to it a little bit better. But it was such a good film.
Yeah, such a good film. Such a good film. My number 4 pick sticks with Marvel. Maybe this is a crossover point, but my number 4 is Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Nice.
Is it on anybody else's list?
No.
No, it was my number 7.
Wow.
I don't know where it is on mine. Hang on. It is.
So a group of characters that I loved the 90s cartoon series, loved the classic cartoon series, have been eagerly awaiting seeing them on the big screen, done well, having enjoyed the 2003 movie, less so the 2005, definitely did not enjoy 20, whatever year it was, 12, Fan-Four-tastic, which was Fan-Four terrible. And this almost completely lived up to everything that I was hoping for. I do have a few issues with the third act and how they're able to deal with the villain and get rid of the villain at the end. I don't know why I'm saying the villain as if it's a spoiler. I think people know by now that it's Galactus, I think. I do feel like Galactus gets dispatched a little bit easily, and I think Silver Surfer ended up being a bit undercooked and used for a little bit more than exposition in the plot. But in terms of how the four themselves are written and portrayed and casted, everything about them I love. I am pro Pedro. I know a lot of people are not pro Pedro in that role, but I will say it. I like him in that role.
Life.
I think they're all really well cast. I thought we finally saw a thing that was done quite well. I think Chiklis did a good job in the characterization, but the suit, when you go back to it now, looks quite rubbery. Whereas when you look at Fan-Four-tastic, it's just a mess, which is a shame because that was Jamie Bell, wasn't it? He could have done really good things with it. I like Vanessa Kirby. I think she's great. I genuinely thought that we were going to end up with a Fantastic Three by the end of the film. There was a couple of different members of the family that I thought weren't going to make it through, but they did, thankfully. So look forward to seeing them in Doomsday when it happens. Ebon, brilliantly cast as well. Great Thing voice. Joseph Quinn also seemed to be really well cast. Felt like he ended up maybe the most undercooked of the four of them, but still is a great version of that character. So much to love. Great music. Michael Giacchino's score is so good. I still listen to it now. So yeah, ironically, Fantastic Four is my number 4, and that is not on purpose. That is just how it ended up.
I'm going to have to acknowledge the pun of the Human Torch being the most undercooked. That is so funny.
I only just clocked it.
That is so funny. I watched Vanessa Kirby in the movie Pieces of a Woman. And I remember when she got cast as Sue, I was like, she's gonna completely kill it. And that entire third act, while it might be a bit choppy, and the scene where the Silver Surfer is chasing them, I was so blown away. She's by far one of the best things the MCU's produced in a while.
Yeah.
They're very lucky to have her.
Yes, very. They are very, very, very lucky to have her.
Because that chase scene where the Silver Surfer is after them in space, and the way she's doing the power, it was just insane. It was so good. It was Wonder level amazing.
Love it.
Nice.
Nice.
Right, Michael, number 3 for you.
Number 4, right?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, 4.
4. Sorry.
I'm
Keeping
forgetting
on the theme of the 4. Keeping on the theme of the 4.
Number 4. So my number 4 film is a little bit of a weird one. It is a film that I saw at the Manchester Animation Festival back in November. And it is a short film called Overreacting, just to emphasize the name.
Oh, nice.
And it is a stop motion animated film about a woman who's been pressured to have kids, and it explores that in a really humorous, very Fleabag kind of comedic way.
Okay.
And it's really crazy to explain, actually. She goes to a party, and then she's pressured to have a baby, and then I think she goes to the bathroom and then comes out and she's given birth to this like little character that looks like a womb that follows her around, and it sounds really creepy, but it's like done in a really cutesy and humorous way. And the little thing acts as like a devil and angel on her shoulder, and it's just giving her shit for the full film, and it's just criticizing her and making fun of her choices, and it's just one of the best films I've seen in so long. It genuinely blew me away. It was just that good. It was so well made and performed, and I just couldn't recommend it enough.
It's got Sophia Oxenham in it. Oxenham from Extraordinary.
Yeah, Extraordinary is such a good TV show. Honorable mention.
So it's Overreacting is written by Laura Jane Tunbridge and directed by Ida Mellum. It looks really cute from the poster. It looks really cool.
It's honestly, it looks really sweet and cute, and it is, and the messaging's really sweet, and what it accomplishes in like the short span of time it has is really impressive. And honestly, it's one of them films where I've just not stopped thinking about it. I think I've mentioned it like every other week to some mum whenever I'm having like a nerdy like film chat, as I often do. It's just that good. It blew me away. And I'm not usually one for short films, not because I don't really go out to find my way and discover them. So the fact that this festival was just full of short films was really cool, and that one in particular just really stuck with me.
Nice.
So
right.
I would recommend.
Where am I now? Am I on Aaron number 3?
I haven't done my 4.
Why do I feel like everyone's done their 4? Okay, only I did my 4. Right.
Yeah.
I'll quickly do this one so we can get to the 3.
Clearly, I really want to get to the 3s. I'm having a mental blank. I just can't. I've got to. Right, go.
Right.
Number 4.
My 4th one. This is where my list might be a bit different to some of yours in certain things, because some of my picks are not obvious ones. Case in point, my number 4 is a German film called Late Shift, which is about a nurse doing the late shift at a hospital at a very understaffed section.
I wanted to see this.
Yeah, it played at South by Southwest London, but I watched it later on when I'd heard some decent things about it, and it was available to rent on digital. It is not an easy watch, but this is probably the best example to show anyone in terms of how do I word this? In terms of basically showing that, like, kind of like during the COVID years, where it's like these are the unsung heroes.
Yeah.
Like this woman gets pulled through the ringer during this night shift, and I think there's only one other nurse to help her, but unfortunately she's a newbie and she's quite young and she doesn't really know what she's doing, whereas she's the only experienced one. It's a tense, suspenseful in that sense, but it's all played for realism. It's very grounded in that sense, and it, like I said, it can be a hard watch at times. I've noticed that quite a few films in my top 10 of the year are hard watches, but like they're worth it. I do recommend this one because I feel like a lot of people have kind of slept on it or don't even know it exists. But yeah, this one kind of just came out of nowhere. It's on streaming I think you can rent it on Amazon or Apple. I think it's actually on BFI Player as well.
Yeah.
And it is really good. Yeah, not an easy watch, but it is definitely worth your time.
I recognize the poster. I've definitely seen press releases and stuff for it.
It is really good. I like little gems like this that just pop up and really take me by surprise. A lot of the time they just end up scraping the top 20, but this one really won me over just because of how relatable and real it felt.
Nice. Like it. Very interesting choice. I've now got the trailer playing on IMDb in the corner of my eye.
Pay attention.
So now I know that we have all done our number 4. So now it is
number
3.
We are on 3.
Starting with my number 3, and I'm sticking with the superhero genre, which must mean Superman. Superman is my face. That's the face of. I thought it would be number 1. Superman is my number 3 film of the year. And that is where it landed the day I saw it the very first time, and that is where it has remained for the rest of the year. There are still 2 films that have outscored it on my letterbox this year. I've now got a face full of cat hair because he's just been running around the desk.
Oh,
Yeah. So obviously, everyone knows I love Superman. Everyone knows I love DC. What do I need to say other than, yeah, great, loved it. New big screen start to a universe, new cast, brilliant. I've said so much about this film this year. I just adore absolutely everything about it. I rewatched it again really recently. First time I'd watched it since probably late summerish time. I've not been watching it, like once a week since it came out. And I still love absolutely everything about it. Yeah, Superman, my number 3. Need I say more? Oh, is it on anyone else's list?
You're gonna have to press the sound effect.
It is on your
Cool.
list. We have crossover.
Superman's my number 3rd choice as well. It's my 3rd pick.
Okay, straight into it. Go on.
Yeah.
People have heard more than enough of me talking about my experience with this film. So please tell me about yours.
Of course. So Superman for me as a character is not someone I typically would read as a comic.
Yep.
My history with Superman is very reminiscent of like childhood and watching the really old movies like on a Sunday with my mum and dad, like when they'd play on TV, and like obviously the animated stuff, so like any like animated like Superman TV show or like any of the Justice League stuff. And this movie made me feel like how I remembered watching them things as a kid. It just brought all of those feelings back, and it kind of encapsulated what nostalgia felt like or feels like in a weird way. Like it just did such a good job. Like the score, I think, like the music of like Superman's theme, I think is one of the best superhero themes we've had, like as well as Wonder Woman's. Like it's like neck and neck. But yeah, it did a lot for me. It brought a lot of memories back, and it was just really well crafted. It was cool to watch the DC like universe like kind of boot up in a way that didn't feel like everyone was just throwing tomatoes at it, because obviously DC's not really been in the best shape like in the cinema space, and it felt for the first time as a DC fan that we could all kind of stand and clap and be appreciative and excited, which we've not really had in a long time. So yeah, I just loved it.
Nice.
It was great.
My copy of the score, my vinyl, just arrived while we were away this weekend. So I just opened it. I've not had a chance to play it yet. It's literally just arrived. So I have my shiny, sexy Mondo vinyl of it now.
That's
Nice.
do you know, I didn't even think of getting that on vinyl, but I am going to make a note of that as we're speaking, because that's a great idea.
I have had the track. What's it called? Walking on Air on repeat, because it's such a lovely piece of music. I've had that on repeat since the film came out.
Yeah.
What is your number 3?
My number 3 might lead to another overlap. Just maybe.
My gong ready.
So this was for 70% of the year my number 1 pick, and then 2 films came along and dethroned it, and I think that's kind of rude, because Sinners is genuinely one of the best films of the entire year, and I'm kind of annoyed. Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed that it got knocked off the top spot, but this is the weird thing, because Sinners is one of those rare films that like was so overhyped, but like it's so warranted.
Yes.
It's a great horror film. It's a great period drama in that setting. It's quite euphoric in places as well. The score is one of my favorites for quite a it's easily the best score of the year. Don't get me wrong, the Superman score is brilliant, but like this one is I don't want to sound like a poncy art film critic, but like the score is transcendent. Yeah. Let me just twirl my mustache and throw my cigar out. But yeah, it's a phenomenal bit of filmmaking, and I think we even said this in our halfway through the year episode is that, like, don't get me wrong, I liked a lot of what Coogler did before, but this feels like the first film of his that actually, right, this is his voice on the screen in its entirety. Yes, Black Panther was good. Yes, Creed was good. Yes, Fruitvale Station's good. But this feels like the thing he's been wanting to make for quite some time.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's his vision unfiltered. What else do I say? What else can I say?
So it is my number 2, which is where we would be going next. So look at this. We're all dovetailing into each other perfectly at this point.
Yeah.
This is my, technically it's my number 1 fictional film of the year, because my number 1 is a
I think I know what your number 1 is.
You know what my number 1 is.
Yeah.
We're gonna get emotional in a minute talking about it. But yeah, this is just such a brilliant film. We needed a resurgence of big screen vampires, because we haven't had a really cool one for a while. We got Nosferatu technically America got it last year, we got it this year. And then we got this, which was just a massive surprise. I think because people didn't know exactly what it was going in. It shocked a lot of people to be what it actually was. Everything that you've just said. The music is amazing. So not Mondo, but Mutant, who are the ex-Mondo team, did 2 incredible vinyls for it. One for the score by Ludwig Göransson, and the other for the songs from it. Which I listen to a lot because it's such good music. But yeah, everything that you just said, brilliant film, brilliant, like 5 stars, no notes. Do not want a sequel as much as anyone wants to push for like other films in that world. I don't want to see any more for it. Just leave it as it is, because it's like a little slice of perfect.
I agree. This is one of the few examples where I'm just like, it's his own thing. Leave it alone. If Ryan Coogler wants to do a different like monster in a similar way, like werewolves or something like that, go for it. Just leave this alone.
Yeah, exactly that. I
think the only acceptable sequel I would have is if he didn't do it anytime soon. So like say in 20 in like 30 years, it's been like a film gone by, and like revisiting what vampires could look like in cinema at that time. Be cool. But I don't think a sequel.
I love that you get the moment in the credits where you get to see that they were still around and kind of living it up in the 90s. I felt like that was the perfect way to just say, cool, that's them. They went away and did their thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Amazing choice. So Michael, what's your number 2?
So my number 2 is Eternity, which is a new watch for me. I only watched it.
Okay.
So I am a big fan of whatever style of film you want to categorize it as, that kind of slice of life. I mean, technically this isn't life, it's a slice of afterlife. But
I really want to see this. It looks so good.
It is honestly one of my clearly one of my favorite films of the year. It just everyone that's in this movie is on their A game. The way it's shot is so cool. Like when they're in the afterlife and they're looking out of the window and the sky is a curtain. So when the time changes, this curtain drops down and you see the curtain, if that makes sense. So the sky goes from this really beautiful, almost looks like a painting curtain, and then it changes into this beautiful ombre. And it's just so stylish and cool. And it's one of them films.
The trailer is so stylish. It almost looks like something that was made in like the 70s or the 80s. It looks so nostalgically cool and classic Hollywood.
I was going to say as well, I really like films that have a unique concept, but then they add in little touches like that to the world building that just don't need to be there, but it's just a nice touch that kind of makes it feel a bit more realized.
Yeah, obviously the whole topic is about being in the afterlife, and it does feel really dreamy, and it's those small details like the curtain, the sky, and these really small like finesse details in like the way the sets are built and the way the dress and the way the hair's like crafted and whatnot. It has this just really beautiful quality to it, and every time I like recommend it or like look at it, I feel like one of those really like film critics was like, I love this film because it feels that level of like
it's a film. It's not a movie, it's a film.
Yeah, it's a film, it's cinema, but it is cinema, and it's just so Stunning.
that.
It's honestly stunning. And the trio, like Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Taylor, and I'm forgetting the other person's
Callum
name. This is really
Turner.
bad. Callum Turner, thank you. I've got Josh O'Connor on the brain today, so I was getting him mixed up. So, but yeah, so all three of them do a really good job, and the actual topic matter of
Yeah.
who does she choose is really
Mm.
well done. So yeah,
Nice.
beautiful film.
Nice.
Love it. Aaron, follow that one up.
Right. Oh, God. We're going to go from. I suppose. Would you say it's quite a light-hearted film? Like, despite its subject?
Like yes and no, because like there's like there's the comedic touch to it, but the topic makes
Yeah.
it quite sad. So like by the end, I was like bawling my eyes out. So like
Right.
sort of.
So we're going. So this is where I was going to segue, because we're going to go from kind of uplifting to incredibly depressing with The Long Walk.
I still need to watch it.
So, like I said, Sinners was very comfortably at the top spot, which at the time when I saw it, I gave it like 4.5. But I suppose on a rewatch, it will very easily get 5. And then I watched The Long Walk, and I'm like, that might be the first 5 of the year. Like, that was kind of flawless. This was one of those rare films where like I watched it and I can immediately see this becoming like a future classic.
Yeah.
It's bleak as hell, but it works. It just works so well. The writing is spot on. I mean, obviously it's Stephen King. What do you expect? But the performances really elevate it. The double act here of Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson is impeccable. Like, I've loved David Johnson since I saw him in Rye Lane and then Alien Romulus, and he's just proving himself even more with this, that he is like possibly one of the best actors that could potentially be. I think someone said it about
he
a
is
different
fun to
actor.
watch.
Yeah. Cooper Hoffman also is just he's channeling his dad's like acting energy. He is just so good. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this film that hasn't already been said, but for me, I can't really fault it. I realize it's bleak and not everyone wants a bleak film, especially with everything going on, but it's got a point to prove. I think the character work, both in its writing and the way it's performed, is bloody incredible. And if you are just someone who can like appreciate just really, really good acting from a great ensemble, this is one of the ones to watch. I also didn't realize that like one of the youngest looking kids that appears at the start, it took me a solid second to go, oh my god, that's Jojo Rabbit. Because he's aged so much between the films, I didn't realize like, oh, Jojo Rabbit's got like a chiseled jawline now. That's weird. I didn't recognize it was you. Go back. I don't go younger. But yeah, Long Walk is my second favorite film of the year. Say what you will about my taste at going with the depressing film. That's my second, but
I'm all for it.
So good. It is so good.
It has Judy Greer in it, doesn't it? I think The Long Walk.
Yeah, she has there is one scene involving. She plays Cooper Hoffman's mum, and there is a scene which ripped my heart out. That involves the two of them. It is so devastating. Yeah,
I think
she's very underrated.
One of them. Yeah, I think obviously she's quite well known for being a comedic actress, like from when her days gone by. But I think she's kind of morphing into one of them actors that I could see her maybe winning an Oscar in like the next 10 years. I think she feels like one of those people where she has a really good performance in her. Do you know?
Just waiting to find the right one.
I will say, if this gets snubbed, just regarding any of the male actors in this film, if this gets snubbed in any of the acting categories, I will not be surprised, but I will be very disappointed in the Academy.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me at all. But the Academy is the Academy.
It is.
Okay.
So Neil, number one.
Yeah. So Aaron's already figured out what my number one is, because it was my number one back when we did our halfway through the year. And I will not completely retread all of the personal traumas that underpin this film and why it's my number one of the year so far. Or is my number one of the year. Because there's very little time left. And nothing is about to overtake it now. But mine is Hans Zimmer, Diamond in the Desert, which is the pro shot of a concert that he performed in Dubai last year, and then also features some staged performances of certain tracks from the concert as well. So I said it when we talked about it before, but I think it's one of the best concerts I've ever seen filmed, because it is so dynamically shot that when you're seeing the concert itself, you feel like you're on stage with them rather than watching them. Like, you feel like you are wrapped up in all of it. And then every now and then, for just a random like key piece, it will just pull you out and do something completely random. So like when it goes to the Batman trilogy music, it's Hans shot like he's a villain in Adam West's Batman at like wonky angles, being a villain in this high-rise block. Or when they're doing Gladiator, it's them in like out in this like farmland. The Dune bit at the beginning, Loire, who is the vocalist who does all of the like really guttural stuff on Dune, it's her walking through the sand dunes, just doing all of that like doing all of that stuff, and it's just really well shot, and it's interspersed with loads of like interview stuff as well. So it has Hans talking to some key people that he's worked with over the years. So like Timothée Chalamet's in there to talk about Dune. Christopher Nolan's in there to talk about all of the collaborations they've done together. Jerry Bruckheimer's in there to talk about Pirates. Johnny Marr, who is a key collaborator of his, Pharrell Williams, who he's worked with a lot over the years. They're all in there for little interview snippets that come between certain songs as well. It's an amazing tour anyway, and that was a version of the tour that I had seen. Some of that music has some really, really deep meaning, which you can go back and see me talk about. There is a particular track that he plays at the end that is something that I've listened to a lot in the last year, and so yeah, that's my number one. Hans Zimmer, Diamond in the Desert, which actually, if you didn't see it at the cinema because it was only a very limited release, is now available on Blu-ray. So you can pick it up. Don't think it's available on digital yet, but it is.
I literally just checked, and the Blu-ray is the only way you can watch it.
Yeah,
and I'm very tempted to buy now.
Just came out. If you go see him on his current tour, he's selling it as merch. But you can also buy it through like Amazon and stuff as well. So do like pick it up if you're interested in his music. You're interested in live like film concerts. It is one hell of an experience. So that is my number one.
Nice.
That's amazing. I once went to a Hans Zimmer candlelit like orchestra
nice.
thing. One of the best things I've ever seen in my life. It was incredible.
There is a Hans Zimmer candlelit like string quartet thing coming to my local town church.
Nice.
And it's like an official thing, and I'm like, why are you coming to this tiny town in East Sussex of all places? It doesn't belong.
Well, I hope you're going.
I'm not complaining. I very much am wanting to get tickets. I will get tickets at some point.
That sounds like the exact thing I saw, and it was in an old church in like the end of Liverpool, like city centre somewhere, and it was incredible. Couldn't recommend enough.
Nice.
But yeah, so my number one film has already been mentioned, but I didn't want to give away what it is. But it was Sinners.
Well, I'm going to play the gong again anyway.
Sinners, as you guys were chatting about it, I was like, I can't give away what my number one film is because I don't want to reveal it just yet. But yeah, Sinners is my favorite film of the year for all.
Do you know what? I had a feeling that was going to end up potentially being the one that would be on all three lists.
Me too. I mean, how can it not be? It's just that good, you know? So I won't go on too much because I feel like everything you guys said kind of covers it, really. But kind of like Eternity, it's one of them films where it doesn't feel like a film, it feels like cinema. And it's just
cue the Martin Scorsese like peaks.
Cinema. Yeah, cinema. It's just so good. Honestly, I can't even put into words really like what about it like hit me. It was just the combination of just all of the elements that were on display just working so beautifully. It was just, I think you said it earlier on, this is the film that he's been waiting to make. And it felt like for the first time we was watching a director, like we've got all of these like really like big titan directors that we all love, but this felt like the start of a new
It was
one.
him like elevate. He
leveled up. it felt like the start of something really cool, and you don't get that very often. So it was really impressive. I think the last film I could probably relate that to is maybe Barbie with Greta Gerwig. The last time
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, this is someone whose imprint on the film industry is going to be really big, and I can't wait to see whatever they choose to do next. And
Yeah.
that's how I felt about Sinners. It was amazing.
Still developing his version of X-Files, which I'm really interested to see what he's going to do with it.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Interesting. So it
Yeah.
ended up at number 3 for you, Aaron, number 2 for me, and number 1 for you, Michael.
Perfect. Synergy.
Which just leaves us, Aaron. Finish us off. What is your number 1?
So my number 1 is a fairly recent-ish one in the sense that it came out a couple months ago. And it is I Swear, the film about John Davidson.
I've heard so much about this.
Yeah. For those of you that maybe don't know, because I know there's a lot of people not from the UK that don't know this film at all. It's about a Scottish man named John Davidson who started developing Tourette's when he was 15. And when he was 15, we're talking like 1983. So they didn't know what Tourette's was at the time. And it just shows his life from that point to now, of him trying to deal with it, come to terms with it, but then using his knowledge and experience to help other people with Tourette's. I went into the way this film is marketed, and the way I went into it was expecting like a light-hearted British drama about a guy with Tourette's that's also kind of heartwarming. And I had a lump in my throat the entire runtime, because
That a lot.
So I don't have Tourette's, but I have Asperger's, and there are a lot of things that this guy goes through that like were oddly relatable in like not the greatest sense, especially like how he was treated at school. Whereby, so there are instances very early on when the tics start happening, and then he starts swearing, and he will get, because it's the 80s, he'll get lashes with a ruler on his hand and get beaten up by other kids because something just came out, and he obviously can't help it.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to watch. And the fact that just things like those tics then caused his father to leave because he thought he was being, a prankster, an idiot, is really really, really hard to watch. And then going into his adult life, his tics then caused him to be beaten to near death. And it's just things like that that make it, I don't know, that the fact that we're now in a point where Tourette's is a bit more understood, and it's through what the actual guy, John Davidson, did, and it's really well realized in this film in terms of trying to raise awareness of what it is, the fact that it's uncontrollable, and the fact that he's now working with police departments to kind of go, right, we're not swearing at you on purpose.
Yeah.
Kind of can't do it, so don't just throw us in jail if we end up calling you every name under the sun. We're not doing it on purpose. It just sort of happens. That Robert Aramayo is phenomenal in this film. Like, he is incredible. I've not seen Rings of Power, but it really makes me want to watch it because I want to see more work of his. Yeah, I cannot fault this film before. Similar to The Long Walk, where this immediately went to the top spot, this kind of was like, surely nothing's going to overtake The Long Walk, and then this just went straight at the top. With like, this was the easiest number 1 spot I've put in since probably Sinners. And the funny thing is, the director's previous credits are Nanny McPhee and My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, which,
no way.
Yeah, when I saw that he directed those and he's made something that's like tonally the other end of the spectrum, I'm like, that is kind of nuts. But he's definitely matured as a filmmaker. Like, this definitely feels like this is cinema. If we're going back to that, it's
back
cinema.
to the good old meme.
Yeah,
Amazing.
It is cinema. But yeah, it is a fantastic bit of filmmaking, and I really wish it was starting to get a bit more recognition outside of just the UK, because I know there's some people in America that don't know this film exists, and I think that's quite sad because it is. I actually Right, there is a thing I said when I watched this film. This should be shown in every college and secondary school because of what it says. Like that is how poignant it is in terms of how well it does its job. I think it really should be shown in colleges and schools.
Wow,
That's
incredible
amazing.
choice.
No,
That wraps us up. Thank you, both of you, for sharing. There were some quite personal choices in there, really.
yeah,
Oh, we got a little deep.
and breathe.
Yeah. And relax. That's it. That brings the curtain down on 2025, which is scary to think that we're at the end of the year. But that does mean that we need to start thinking about what we're excited to see in 2026. Does it not? Which just leaves me to end 2025 by telling you that we will be back early in the new year with our very, very first live episode. We are going to broadcast an episode, and not as in you can come and sit and watch us. We're not like selling tickets in a church.
Live at the event of Apollo. It's
Exactly. We're not quite there yet, but yes, we are going to do the three of us are going to sit down and do our very first live episode where I will probably fail to control technology and I'll keep pressing that gong button. And, sit down and we're going to talk about all the things that we're excited to watch and to read in 2026. So that is going to be coming to you in early next year. We'll publicize dates and stuff when we're all ready to go with it. But thank you, both of you, for spending the last few hours with me to talk about all of your favorite things of this year. Yeah, happy holidays, I guess.
Yeah.
It's about all it leaves us to say.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Thank you to everyone that has tuned in and listened to an episode or watched an episode this year. Please make sure you do all the necessary things like subscribe, thumbs up, leave comments, reviews, all of that stuff. If you want to find me on social media, you can find me on all platforms. I'm at Neil Vag. Aaron, where can people find you?
I thought you were going to go to Michael. You can.
I'm doing
really thrown off there.
thing.
Yeah. You can find me on most social media websites, like Blue Sky and Instagram at Aaron Azza, but you can also find me on YouTube and TikTok at Aaron at the Movies.
And Michael, where can people find you?
You can find me at The Digital Spiral on Instagram and TikTok, and I've got a link in my Instagram that links to all of my other various endeavors, like a Substack, for example. So yeah, find me there.
Love it. And as usual, if you want to check out all the latest news and all of these wonderful people's wonderful reviews, then head to www.getyourcomiccon.co.uk. So, happy holidays again. Enjoy some downtime. Stay safe. Stay well. We'll see you live in January for our look ahead into 2026. Bye.